Kanpai!
Welcome. Excuse me. Welcome, weebs. And Xeno says too, oh, give me another one. No, go away. I don't want you.
Drinking anyway. Okay, drink.
Yeah, drink.
Nasuth,
drink.
Welcome to episode 53 of Kanpai Cast. Anime that lives with you is what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to be talking about it with our special guest, Bear. Hello, Bear.
Hello.
I believe this is the first time you and I have actually interacted together, although I've edited your stuff from Notice Me Senpai.
Not through proxy by message.
Yeah, that's true. What do you do? Who are you? Who are you? Where am I?
My name's Bear Winters. I am a systems engineer by trade, but at night I write tabletop games and play tabletop games, role-playing games, that kind of thing. But I'm a publisher for those things, and I'm a vintage anime nerd.
Nice. So you say, what got you into anime as a vintage anime nerd?
Probably the violence, I think. And that's probably not a great thing to say about my psyche, but it was the 80s when I got into, 80s and early 90s that I got into anime, so everything was, hyper violent. And it was crazy to see all this stuff that you don't see in traditional media.
Was it like friends that got you into it, or did you, see something on TV, or,
Yes. No, it was my friend. My buddy lent me Fist of the North Star and Akira.
Ooh!
And I was sold from that point on, so...
A double whammy. Right, well, I guess that's... You guys have any questions you want to ask him?
Well, I think we've got a lot of questions to ask him
later
on into the show, yeah.
Also, I apologize if I go a little still. My cat is here now, and he is blocking the camera, so...
As cats do.
As cats do. Right, so shall we move into housekeeping then?
Yep.
Right. Just to remind everyone, we do have timestamps and chapters, allowing people to navigate to the sections of the show they're interested in. They are just below where Bear and I are, with the seek bar, sort of underneath there in the description area.
See, Bear can do it, Nasuth. Why can't you point like
someday,
a real boy?
Someday my arms will work. Someday.
Yeah.
While you're down there looking for the chapters, we'd love it if you take an extra second to give the video a like and subscribe if you like what you see. Yeah.
Cool.
Shall we go to the news? We got a bit of news this week.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it now. Or we're gonna skip it and do it later.
No. Do it now.
All right. So, in the continuing saga of voice actor Vig Mignogna's defamation case against Funimation and others, the Texas Second Court of Appeals upheld the trial court's ruling in favor of Funimation and the other people that he was suing. Not only that, they instructed the trial court to recalculate the amount Mignogna has to pay for court costs, saying that they're too low based on the facts of the case. They've also ordered him to pay all costs for the appeal for both sides. His only option from here is to try to appeal to the state Supreme Court, which is unlikely. And he continues to maintain his innocence, that he's innocent of the allegations against him. And yeah, so that's the latest in that. He's probably done, to be fair. So you can tell the hype for Chainsaw Man is at its maximum when IGN France interviews Manabu Otsuka, CEO of MAPPA, and he says he would love to adapt all of the artists' other works, but right now there are only plans to focus on Chainsaw Man, making this clickbait.
Yep.
Good old clickbait.
Good old clickbait.
Good old IGN.
They're just trying to monopolize on the fact that everyone's super hyped for Chainsaw Man.
Are you super hyped? Oh no, right. Bear, you should check out Chainsaw Man. It's
I've been told I have to, yeah.
Read the manga. It's right up your alley. If you're into the old vintage gruesome
the ultra-violence
80s stuff, yeah, seriously, you are going to love Chainsaw Man.
Oh yeah.
And
chainsaw for a face, right?
And hands.
Yeah, pretty much. And feet.
And feet too. And he has a dog with a chainsaw too.
God damn, this sounds like my thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool things, One Punch Man is getting a third season, although we don't know who's doing it or any of that. All we have so far is a teaser image from the character designer, which is that one right there.
Do we know if it's going to be as shit as the second season?
Yes, that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know who's doing it.
Yeah, no, I spent some time actually trying to find out. Like, none of those details are handed out. Like, we don't know who the studio is or anything. So
all we know is that they are doing it. So it's still pretty cool.
Well, it means someone's found some money to do it, and hopefully if they're sensible with their money, they go, right, we want to do it. Let's look who well did the second season go. No.
So we have a release date for the Wings of... Oh my gosh. I just realized I've been muted this whole time.
Are you for real?
I am for real.
Well, no, just take the audio from
Craig, yes.
Yes.
I will take Craig's audio. That's very important. Yes. So oh my goodness. Thank goodness we have a backup. Anyway, so we have a release date for the Wings of Honneamise 4K remaster, including the new English dub. Yeah. Distributor section 2. I've actually never watched Wings of Honneamise, and now there's a 4K remaster.
So good.
I'm not sure I want to until it's out.
It's so good.
It's one of those classics. Distributor Section 23 are working to make sure that they can release the special edition box we've spoken about in the past. For Bear's benefit, it's got an extremely old and rare VHS documentary about Gainax while they're from when they were working on this. And they're remastering that too to be in better quality. So they're trying to do that in both Japan and North America concurrently on November 4th. So not too far away either. Speaking of shows getting released and new seasons and stuff, Eden Zero officially announced its second season coming sometime in 2023. Again, we don't really have any other news other than the new visual for it, which is very reminiscent of the first season's visual, but now with the ship in the background.
Oh, I still need to watch that, clearly, because it has Happy in it.
Happy is boss.
Yep. Happy is boss.
Happy is boss. On September 1st, Gundam: The Witch from Mercury Prologue will debut worldwide on the Gundam.info YouTube channel ahead of the September 4th premiere of the anime on several streaming services, including Hulu, which I have.
I'm kind of surprised that The Witch of Mercury's not starting in October. Like, this anime season has just been an absolute kerfuffle when it comes to launching
weird
stuff at the start of the season.
Yeah. We're still waiting on Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Runner, yeah.
Yep. And
I wonder, actually, the last few Gundam series they've done, they have just straight released them onto the Gundam YouTube channel, which is kind of nice. Cause
they're going to do that in Japan, but not in the rest of the world.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
They may eventually, but not immediately. Yeah. Speaking of Mobile Suit Gundam, they made it into a recent discussion between an anti-war novelist and a Tokyo University professor. They didn't say, but I assume it's literature. As an example of how a show can have an overt anti-war message and yet still potentially make the means of a war seem cool and desirable. A couple of things of note that I saw: the professor pointed out that you could hate war and still love, stuff like planes and even high-speed jets and whatnot. And the novelist noted that they too, despite their subject matter and its fierce anti-war stance, they're also a military geek. So it's this pretty cool. I thought it sounded like a pretty cool discussion of the sort of dual nature of the technology, but also the violence. And there will be an included Google translated version in the description that looked like it was translated really well. So feel free to peruse that.
Nice.
And finally, speaking of cool things like that, Humble Bundle is currently offering a selection of 25 non-fiction digital books for at least US $18. That's the minimum you have to pay, but it's worth apparently $254. With titles from a former Ghibli employee, a group of essays about Astro Boy, and more. It'll run through the end of August, so not too much time left if you want to get that. And that does it for the news.
Cool. So it's time to talk about anime.
Let's slide into the anime hell.
So, I'm gonna pick on Bear and ask about Cyberpunk. Cyber City Oedo 808. Yeah. Like, what can you tell us about this? Because I've never heard of this, but it sounds very cyberpunk.
Cyber City Oedo 808 is incredibly cyberpunk. It's done by the same animation guys that did Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Oh wow!
Ooh,
So
okay.
It's in that style. The animation quality is incredibly good. But it's basically set around the story of these three criminals who are serving time, and they're basically offered the option to hunt other criminals, and each criminal they hunt takes time off their sentence. And they've all got their own little things. You got Sengoku, who's kind of like he's got this weird like America Buffon hairstyle.
The mohawk.
He's kind of he's a bit of a badass.
He's also got those cyberpunk glasses that you always see. They're just like the single lens that goes all the way across your face with like a thin red line. Yeah.
No, that's
Oh, sorry. Yes.
That's the other one. That's shit. I can never remember.
You're talking about the brown-haired main guy, not the right. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Gogol, I think his name is. Gogol? Yeah, Gogol. Gogol is the second guy, I believe. I have to check my notes on that. He's the one with the cybernetic enhancement,
right?
The one-eye band thing, and then you've got Benton, who's the sort of like J-rock, sort of like non-binary.
Is that the white-haired one?
Yeah, the pretty one.
Yeah.
And they all have their own little sort of like quirks. Like Sengoku's very much the like in your face, I've got a giant gun. Gogol is the kind of hackery mastermind criminal, and then Benton's kind of like a stealthy thiefy. But Benton's got the monofilament razor wire that they use to like cut people up into shreds.
Oh, what are those? Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's super.
Oh, look at this! Cool. Just look at this.
Yes, that's actually from the first episode.
Yeah, I pulled all the screenshots from the first because I didn't want to have too many spoilers in there.
It's really hard to explain, but like the first episode is set because each episode centers around one of the main characters. So the first one is Sengoku, the second one is Gogol, the third one is Benton. And it's all got really weird cyberpunk themes. So the first one is set around a skyscraper that like reaches up into space. It's huge, and terrorists take it over, and Sengoku and the team have to go in and find out who's in there, because the tower is also linked to the city's called Oedo. It's linked to Oedo's like satellite laser system and like all these other military things. So they're trying to battle, and it turns into this really cool crime drama. That's the other thing about this. It's kind of a crime drama as well for the whole thing.
Oh look, it's Gendo.
Super cyberpunk. Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? But yeah, it's all set in this cool, very cool cyberpunk world, like big metropolis. You know, people have flying cars or hovering cars. There's like psychic cybernetics, and then one of the episodes deals with like an immortality virus that turns people into like superhuman craziness. It's really good. It's an incredible season. It's only 3 episodes, but it's an amazing series. Like if you've never watched it, watch it. It is filled with like 80s language, so I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember that one term that we discussed a few YouTube videos about. Ends with sucker. That gets thrown around a lot in this. But yeah, it's definitely a product of its time. But the animation quality is fantastic.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got that late 80s sort of visual style where everything is super detailed.
Yeah,
and
this.
Isn't it a 90s one?
I think
it's 1990.
It's 90s, yeah.
It's 1990.
Yeah.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, but it is just literally. I'm just looking through episode 1 now, and it's like every frame is just the detail oozing out of like the glorious cyber backgrounds and Just like, oh look, here's a small piece of open electronics, super hyper detailed.
That picture that's up on the screen right now is from literally the first 5 minutes in the first episode.
Yeah.
He ramps that car off a bridge and then jumps out of the car to land on a flying vehicle.
When I was pulling screenshots from this, I was like, I've gotten how many now, and I'm only in the first 10 minutes? No, I've got to skip ahead. It's every frame is just beautiful.
It is. It's an amazing show, and and that talks to the quality of the studio as well. I mean, you guys have seen like Ninja Scroll and Vampire Hunter D and the later Vampire Hunter D, and their quality in animation is just absolutely fantastic. No, they're one of my favorite anime studios, I think.
So was this the first thing that you seen, or was this something that?
This followed very shortly. This was I got into this around the same time I got into the Guyver, like the original OVA, which I know you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But it was the first thing I ever watched was Fist of the North Star. That was my first ever anime that I watched. Although technically Robotech was. Technically Robotech was, because my buddy had a VHS of it, and I remember watching it.
1 and 2, the red box. Everyone had the red box.
I remember watching it, but I can't remember much of it. I just remember, like the Zentradi arrival and the cool planes that changed into mecha, which I thought was great. But the one that I really first sat down and watched was Fist of the North Star, and that one just blew my mind as to what the genre could do, because you don't see this kind of stuff. And then Akira followed shortly after that, and then it was into the series then. So 3x3 Eyes. 3x3 Eyes I actually started watching on Channel 4 back in the day, at like 1 o'clock at night, because that's the only time that they would show anime. Like it was on Channel 4 at 1 o'clock. And then from there it was like Legend of the Four Dragon Brothers, Doom Megalopolis, that kind of stuff. Anything that they showed like series wise. And then my buddy introduced me to like the Guyver. He had a couple of episodes of the Guyver on VHS, and it kind of just went from there, really. But yeah,
I have to know, have you ever seen speaking of like old anime that they showed late at night, have you ever seen one called the E.Y.E.S of Mars?
No.
No. It's insane. It's insane. You probably should avoid it. It's
okay.
It's so weird.
Oh no, it's Naz's pet bringing it up, and it's just weird. He explained it to us, and it was just weird. I can't say much more.
People come from Mars, and they they blow up Mars, and then they travel to Earth as spirits and take over the cavemen, and that's how humanity is born. And yeah. But also Jesus is a Martian. Yeah.
Of course.
It's just
of course. Why wouldn't it be?
So stupid. Oh, okay. That's all I wanted to say about it.
So, going from Cyber City Oedo, like, what was the big thing that actually drew you to it, and then subsequently from that to other things?
Cyber City Oedo, animation quality was great, the storyline was great, and because I was a shit little kid, like, all of the swearing and violence was obviously, like, a big part of that. Same thing with Appleseed. I've always really... I've always loved like cyberpunk as a theme, or just like cyberization as a whole. Like robots walking around shooting each other just always appealed to me. But the Cyber City Oedo does this thing where it makes it. It's kind of like Patlabor, in where it combines, like, it's primarily like a crime thriller, but it has mech in it, and it's got that cool visualization and technology. But Cyber City Oedo is more, it leans more heavily into the spectacle of mechs and cyberization, and what does that mean for humanity, and how are people treated, and like how does crime then work, and these criminals are kept in like a satellite in space because they're too dangerous for Earth, so they just lock them in space, because if they ever get out, where are they going to go? You know, so it's like the idea of it is just super great. And then it deals with things like disease and cryo refrigeration and stuff for containment of bodies to cure things later on. It talks about a lot of different like social aspects. There's one series that talks about like organ trafficking and how like these cyborg manufacturers dealing with you know, lost people to power these military cyborgs, and you think it's kind of schlocky, but and I might be looking at it a little bit with rose tinted glasses, but I always found the stories like really involving, and Cyber City Oedo just kind of, whenever there was anything with cyber in the name, which is why I picked up Genocyber, I was thinking, cool, it's going to be as cool as this, and Genocyber sticks with me for very different reasons than Cyber City Oedo, but yeah.
So how's about we transition to Genocyber then? Because again, this is one that I haven't actually seen myself, and I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at right now, but you know,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an android woman in a power. Well, it's not exactly a power suit. It's like,
so that's actually a bad guy, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the story. This is a massive body horror anime.
Yeah.
Like it's horrific. To give you an idea, the intro to the second episode is literally a bunch of kids getting gunned down by an Apache like longbow.
Yeah.
And like it is in detail. Like you see this kid like lose half his head, like from and the main character loses her shit and kills everybody.
Right.
But it's based around this girl who I can't remember if she was like an experiment or something, but she can transform into this thing called the Genocyber, and she gets. She's then fighting against all these weird military people, but like it's never really kind of explicitly stated who the bad guys is. It's just if you look at the picture right now, this is one of the agents that is sent to kill her. But they have this weird body horror where they can store all this like weird technology in their body, and so like literally like her rib cage opens up and she expands into this like 4-story tall robot with a weird dinosaur neck and a minigun in her throat. Like, and that's all stored in this tiny little body. Yeah, it's so messed up. Like the entire thing is, and again, it's very much a horror anime. It's incredibly gory. It's got a lot of really cool psychic kind of focus on the genetic side of it, so it's kind of like Genocyber is this big, you know, psychic super weapon, really, and it's just this little girl, and she just wants to be left alone. And then like all of these, you've got these agencies of these creepy ass dudes that can turn into massive like monsters. Like there's this one guy that has like a weird like circular saw thing on an arm that comes out of his back and kills a bunch of people. It's really odd. Like it sticks with me in the way that, not like Cyber City Oedo does. It sticks with me in a way that there are images that I've seen in that show that I will not ever be able to forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even just leafing through the first episode, I saw some stuff in there that was like, ooh, that's ooh.
Yeah. I just watched the first 2 minutes of the second episode, and he is not wrong about those kids.
Yeah.
Those kids get gunned down in beautiful 90s super detail.
It is. It's horrific, and like that one scene.
It doesn't pull any punches.
It doesn't. It doesn't need to, because the idea is that like it's a horrific world with these just with these crazy.
It's sort of like what would happen if, you know, the world was sort of a military corporatocracy, you know, as a lot of things in the late 80s and early 90s were.
And that's a lot of what their focus was, I think.
Yeah, and what happens when they start experimenting on people. Yeah.
Yes, it's flooded with Generation X, like doubt and hatred of corporate whatever. It's definitely got all of those vibes. But yeah, no, that show will stick with me for the rest of my life, and not just for good reasons, but for just the sheer trauma of watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of trauma, I kind of want to give Loz an opportunity.
No, it's fine. You keep going.
I'm giving Loz an opportunity to talk about trauma with Made in Abyss.
Oh,
so I don't know
yes.
if you've seen Made in Abyss.
God.
I have not. No.
Oh, it's
Right.
so good.
This gives Loz an ample up. I think. Sorry. Okay, sorry, Nasuth. Right?
Yeah.
I know you love Made in Abyss, but I think Loz can sell the trauma so much.
Yeah.
Loz can sell this so much better. Yes, this is definitely Nasuth's fault.
This is nothing but this Nasuth's fault. In fact, why this is season 2? Is it? Have you got season 1 to put in the background?
I don't. I know we got the movies.
I can get it.
Come on, because it's even because at this, like this character on the right, this is second season stuff. She looks a bit tired and a bit weak, and thinking, oh yeah, she looks like she's been through a few things. No. Show me some season 1 stuff to show what it really looks like most of the time. So this is definitely. But how do you like being gut punched?
Oh, I just absolutely love it. You know,
emotionally, just like punch, and it's like punch to the stomach, and then you're like, oh no, and then it's like punch to the stomach, and you're like. Are you gonna stop doing that?
And then it pats you on the head. It's like, no, things are fine. Things are fine. It's okay.
5 minutes. Are you gonna stop gut punching? No, gut punch. Right. So
in fairness, I did like playing the Last Guardian, which was essentially.
All right, but that was probably right. That was probably soft. But in comparison, I bet you that was gut punches with a padded glove. In comparison to how this show does it.
This show with red.
Yeah, so this is a show that Nasuth made me and Zeno watched after we were like, Nasuth, you need to watch more anime. And I can't remember what we showed him beforehand, but we showed him. He's like, hey guys, you need to watch Made in Abyss. And we started watching the show. And the show it looks really pretty. It looks quite young and innocent. You've got these kids and they're doing stuff. And there's this
very fantastical
like, this
areas and
yeah, fantasy. And there's like monster things. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going into this giant pit in the ground. It looks nice. It's not like a dark pit. And we're going to explore and we're going to find things. And they stay at the top. And these are kids. They look like 12-year-olds, if not younger. I think they're about 12. I don't know. And then,
somewhere between 10 and 12,
then these two here get the idea that we're going to the bottom of this thing. And that was not a good idea.
The bottom where nobody ever returns.
No one comes back. No one comes back from that, but they had to because they're after her mother, the girl on the right. So her mother, a message from her mother, who is this amazing person who's delved quite deep into the hole. And they're going to go after her. And you start off so innocently with like this little group. It's an orphanage of these kids, but they're learning to be what are called cave raiders. Cave raiders, yeah. And those are people who go into this giant abyss, this big hole, and they look for technology
artifacts,
of clearly a lost civilization that existed in the abyss or around the abyss or parts of it. So the deeper you go into the abyss, the more amazing technology you find. However. The key thing is though, once you go into the abyss, it works in sort of like tiers based on the distance you go down. Going down is fine. However, if you attempt to go back up, depending on where you are, certain bad things will happen. So once you go down far enough, you ain't coming back.
There's a layer. There's a layer where I don't remember all of them, but I think between the
first one's like nausea. You just get nauseous.
Yeah, the first couple are all right, but if you try to come back from the third layer. You end up like bleeding out of your eyes and mouth and just every orifice.
So once you get down to one of these levels, if you go up even like 10 meters, you'll start having the effect, the curse of that tier. And like that one is that you'll just start bleeding, just out of every orifice. Your skin will start bleeding. Then eventually, I don't want to spoil this show, but I would say this show goes into themes of amputating
There's some body horror. There's definitely some body horror.
Euthanasia. Self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
You say body horror, but that doesn't really do it justice. It is an absolute mutilation of people to the loss of body, humanity, and soul.
Yep.
It's a pretty lovely looking show. Look at this pretty lovely show.
Look at this. I was gonna say this would look right at home in a Ghibli movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks Ghibli cute. This frickin' place. Don't you get me started on what happens in this place.
Oh,
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
God.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil anything. But yeah, so You think that you're watching an anime and it's like, oh, it's going to pull its punches because he's a cute little kid, he's exploring it. No, it does not.
Yeah.
It does not.
The main characters have a bit of plot armor, but not a huge amount. I mean, they still get...
Well,
Their plot armor's weak.
they're...
Obviously, we can't kill them, but they do get damaged.
Not often, though, but yeah.
Yeah.
They do, but I doubt they could die.
I think they get more emotionally damaged than anything.
They get terribly emotionally damaged. And, yeah, so... And this show is called Animes That Stay With Me or whatever. This one will be staying. The themes and some episodes in this show will... Oh my god, I just remembered last week.
Yep.
Oh my god, I just remembered last week.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't think I should watch this show.
Oh, you should. Although I will say...
Three-part movies.
Yes, don't... Go ahead, Zeno. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, watch the 3-part movies, right, and then go straight into the second season. Because the first season is the first 2-part movies, right?
Okay.
And then the third one is just completely before the second one. So you just might as well watch the 3 movies and then watch the second season. There is no, like, episodic show that bridges the gap between first and second season. You have to at least watch the third movie.
The movies cut out a lot of the filler that,
so if you watch it... If you do decide to watch episodes, just watch the movie. It's quicker. If you do watch the episodes, it just starts out. The main thing I think Naz explained to us that gets chopped out is that it's very slow at the start. And at the start, the first like 3-4 episodes, nothing bad happens. You think, oh yeah, this is just a nice little adventure into.
You learn a lot about the abyss and yeah.
These fuckers. Oh god, these fuckers.
I was kind of expecting Loz to go into the fetal position and then start rocking back and forth on his chair.
So I'm not gonna describe what actually happens in this last episode, but like literally, I'm watching the show with Xeno and Nasuth. So was it the third season? Second season's coming out. Second season's coming out, and I know this show. We're like episode 7 out of 12, and it's just sitting there being like winding up a punch. And I know it's just basically while it was doing that to punch me right in the chest, it's just hammered me around the face. Right in the last episode, but it's still winding up that punch for the stomach. It's going to come at the end of the season, I know. And so yeah, this is just brutal for a show. Oh god, I remembered what these fuckers do. Oh my god,
Man,
I don't
watching the trauma on Loz's face just as he's going through this roller coaster of emotions is selling me already.
No, I mean, I've seen other depressing anime. Which I can't remember the titles of now. Which I would say, oh god, that's so depressing. Things like, oh god, what's the mech show with the kids that each time they get them? Oh, we had it last. I said about it last.
Oh, like Bakurano or something.
Bakurano, yeah, like every week where a kid pilots a mech to save the planet and then they die after winning, or if they lose, the entire universe they're in gets destroyed. You think that's heavy? No, this works on like small scale. This show makes it personal. Care about each kid, the kid or whatever it's dealing with, and then it will just mutilate kids, and then it'll just emotionally destroy kids, and then it'll just be like give you utter despair for kids. Not Bakurano. We want Bakurano. I mean, Made in the Abyss. Bakurano is just sad, depressing in comparison. It's like this one like each picture looks happy, and you feel happy. And you look at that happy show. Look at that beautiful happy show with color and character. No, I'm not. I don't want to spoil anything.
That thing's going to be eating a liver by the end of the episode.
It wants to. I'll tell you, it wants to. It would happily take a liver. Yeah, that thing would happily have that girl's liver. Happily. Oh yeah, that'd be good for it. Yeah, it likes that liver.
Right.
Oh, look at this fantastical background. It's just like, oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, so that's another reason I do like the show is that the environments are super highly detailed and that
it looks beautiful.
They'll take moments to just pause on a vista and just look over because they've got to keep going down, so they got to look where they're going next, and you just see these amazing things like clouds and half destroyed civilization. Like, well, what's going on here? And then you see monsters in the distance going between the clouds and things. It's just it's beautiful. Do you know, Nasuth, do you want anything to my breakdown over the show?
I think you
got it.
To be
fair, yeah, this is why I wanted you to sell it, because I knew you were going to do an excellent job of it.
Yeah, you recalling your trauma is enough of a selling point for me.
This week. No, I can't tell you this week, but honestly, this last week was sort of a flashback episode, right? I cannot tell you. So it's 22 minutes long, and we're getting through it, and I think it gets about minute 18, and you're just like, what?
Oh god.
Wait, why? Oh, why?
Yeah.
That's just no, not to her. No, wait. Oh,
should we
Mm-hmm.
jump to the next one?
I'll start crying otherwise.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Bear to talk about 3x3 Eyes.
Oh, my favorite manga slash anime ever. Like this tops the Guyver for me.
That's a bold claim for me. Okay.
No, and your mileage may vary.
Well, look at the expressiveness
okay.
just in this image with his face and her face, and you know.
And bear in mind, this is a very like early anime, and they only did it through OVA, so I think there's only 6 episodes, and that only covers the first 10 books in the series, and there's something like 50. And he only completed it recently, like in the 2000s. But so this show basically follows the 2 main characters. You got Yakumo, who is this orphan kid in Tokyo who works at a transgender bar.
Yes, that was very. I didn't get any pictures of that, but it was very clear.
It looks very good in dress.
Yeah.
And he runs across Pi, and Pi is this girl who is actually a member of the Sanjian Unkara, which are these 3-eyed demons that live somewhere in Tibet. The portal to this world is in Tibet, and she gets found by his father, who's dead. His father ran away for a while, and he sends her back to go looking for him, to lead her to this thing called the Statue of Humanity, which will turn her into a human. She gets to become human. The thing is, she brings with her a couple of demons, and one is kind of in her staff, and that thing that you see on screen right now is called Takui. And Takui is this weird harpy creature who ends up killing Yakumo. And so to save him, she basically eats his soul, and that means that he cannot die as long as she is alive. But the thing is, it doesn't prevent him from injury or pain. So there's this one episode where he gets hit by a bus, and it's just this blood splat everywhere. And these people are like, oh my god, what a tragic thing. And he just stands up afterwards and he's like, oh, that was lucky. And all these people
I think that's literally in episode 1. It's, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this poor kid, Yakumo, it follows his story as he goes from like just high school student to, you know, pretty badass. They're called Wu, W-U. And the mark of like he gets this mark on his forehead to show that he's immortal and he's bound to a Sanjian. And they have to fight against demons. They have this cool sort of supernatural aspect to it. There's a kind of investigatory aspect to it, but not so much. It's actually one of the animes where the romance story in it is really, really organic feeling, and it feels super awesome. It's just a real good feel-good story without there being like too much like cringiness to it. But it's got everything that it's got everything in there, and then there's complications to that as well. So there's like I don't want to spoil it for you guys to watch it. I mean, a lot of people probably won't watch it because it's kind of old, but there's another demon that overtakes Pai's body, who then also falls in love with Yakumo, and then as the one is released and the other is split, like Yakumo in the books at least, it basically has to go follow Pai, and then this other one follows kind of her like weird romantic want for Yakumo as well, but she's, you know, a crazy snake demon. But it's the perfect blend of like person next door relationships with supernatural horror and magic, and a really good delve into it's got a lot of like Hindu imagery in it. So the main bad guy is Shiva, like the god Shiva. Like the Sanjian Unkara, the 3-eyed demons are all kind of like represented in different like Hindu persons. So her full name is Parvati. Like Shiva was meant to be her husband, and it's an incredible series. It's got this real good quality of storytelling that I really love, and like the animation was pretty decent. It's got a lot of really good humor in it. At the same time, like walking hand in hand with this kind of very sort of like horrific action that goes with it. Like Yakumo gets creamed like over and over by these big ass demons. Just use him as a punching bag, and he keeps getting back up for more, and it's crazy to watch. Like he loses limbs and stuff, and you know, you can reattach them and stuff because he's immortal, or grow them back. But it's one of those series that speaks to the heart of the writer, and the person who made this series is just absolutely fantastic. Like their work is stunning. I could watch this over and over and over again, and I have. Like I generally will watch this show. Like I used to watch it like every couple of months, and now I watch it maybe every couple of years. But it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic series.
Kind of want to take this in the direction of Mushoku Tensei.
Go for it.
So, and Loz and Nasuth, feel free to jump in and, you know, pick up anything that I'm missing. But Mushoku Tensei is, I think, kind of up your alley. I kind of thought, oh no, he's just into the like really horrible, nasty stuff. Oh god, no! And then when you just spoke about 3 by 3 Eyes,
but bad things do happen in this one too. I mean, it's not. It's not
there
free
are.
Of bad
there
things.
are. But my point is, like, you know, there's no horrible body horror or anything like that. So I'm just like, you know, but the great thing about Mushoku Tensei is I feel it's an isekai.
I want to say, because I know the show, there's no body horror yet.
Yes.
I can totally see the show having some.
I mean, there is the whole plucking out somebody's eye and replacing it.
Yes.
Always room for body horror.
So the really nice thing is about Mushoku Tensei is it's basically an isekai done right. Yeah. So character gets transported to another world, and it is extremely entertaining to the point of Loz and I had already watched the first half of this, and we turned to Nasuth and said, "Oh, you should check this out." And we watched the first episode together, and then Nasuth proceeded to watch the remaining 10 episodes.
No, we watched like 3 episodes together.
Something like that.
I like my story better.
Only a couple.
And then the next day he watched all 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, he watched the whole thing.
Well, it's like the way they build. So like he doesn't. In a lot of isekais, you know, the character comes there and they're just instantly overpowered. They don't really have to learn that much about the world because they can just rule over everyone. In this one, it starts teaching you about the world and how, like, we follow his, him learning magic and sword fighting and, you know, all this, the way the culture works. You know, they introduce all of this stuff to you in a way that doesn't feel slow or forced. It just feels natural and flowing and getting you onwards towards their eventual goal. But like, there's no... There may be an eventual point that they're going to with it, but every step along the way is important too. It's
nice.
So exploration of the world is a very large part of it. So you've already expressed that you have a keen interest in tabletop role-playing games. The world building in Mushoku Tensei is really, really well done. The initial episode is basically the main character is a baby for the entire episode, and he just assumes that he's still on Earth, only to eventually find out that there's magic and everything. And as someone with a more advanced understanding of how like physics and science and all that crap works, he just sort of like starts swimming with magic. He's just like flying through it kind of thing.
Nice.
And the world setting is incredible. Like, you have different species, you have different you have like monster people, really nasty monsters to fight themselves. It's an absolutely incredible setting, along with a narrative that genuinely keeps the viewer watching. There are shows like, and I hate to you know, if people do actually enjoy it, Overlord. None of the 3 of us actually enjoy Overlord.
Overlord is like the opposite of this.
No, I'm not gonna let you do it that dirty. Overlord has very good world building. The problem is that the characters seem aimless, right? It's like, well, why are you doing this thing? I don't know, cuz. Right? But with Mushoku Tensei, there is very clearly a direction a drive for them to achieve something. And it's incredible. It really, really is an incredible series. I think genuinely you'll enjoy it. It's got plenty of adult humorous moments in it. You see the actual growth of characters. It's an absolutely incredible series. So, what was Loz thinking?
No, yeah, I'm just trying to think to explain it very well. So the one thing that I do like about the show compared to most of these guys is that most of the time these guys just an excuse to get the whatever person into this universe, and then they're exploring it. It just might as well be a fantasy. There's no reason that they even start talking in the same voice. This one, the internal character is a 40-year-old?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Japanese guy, who of course got run over by a truck, but he is also just like a complete...
He's a total shut-in, yeah.
Total shut-in, yeah. But when we see, anytime you hear his internal monologue, it's his old voice. He is still the person. So, and then later on, he gets to talk with a magical entity or whatever, and he's not
God.
a kid.
It's God.
He's talking to some form of god, yeah, and it's his original form. He's not, so the whole time. Mushoku Tensei, best mech show. Piloting this kid almost, it's not forgotten that that's who he is. He never forgets who he is or where he came from. Most shows do lose that in the whatever's fantasy story they're telling. This one, he still has that grounding at all times, which it does come out as a difference as time goes on. This is an important point I feel to point out.
Yeah, very, very, very good. Cool. Now I'm going to open up. Who wants to take it where?
I wouldn't mind transitioning that into Overlord, actually.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, are you a watcher of Overlord?
I stopped watching it around the halfway through the second season because of that same situation where the characters seemed aimless.
Yes.
What I really like about that show is that it is an absolute power fantasy.
Yeah.
I liked no one. It didn't get to the point where it explained like what actually happened, why he was trapped in his character or that kind of thing. It could just be a episode of psychosis for all I know. But what I liked about it was it's the same reason that I play power fantasy games. Is like you kind of you want someone who can go in there and upset the status quo of like the corrupt people in power. So that weird kind of church that was like harassing civilians in the first couple of episodes. You like to see a skeleton with like crazy magic go in there and start just like disintegrating people and summoning stuff, and I thought that part was pretty good, but then it got to the point of well, where does it advance from here? And I think it hit this kind of this weird dual point where and this is what happened in One Punch Man for me as well, is that the story stopped focusing on the main character and started ambling around the people in their orbit.
Sure.
Without much interest.
Frankly, I'd rather have an anime about not Sean Connery though.
Yes, that was what I was going to say. That's what we described the butler. I can't remember. It's season 2. It's about the butler, isn't it? And the butler's going around. And Sebas, that's it. We describe him as not Sean Connery because the dub of him is. In fact, the actor changes. For
changes.
The dub, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it in season 1? He's not Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And then we were really sad that in season 2 we didn't have the guy doing the Sean Connery impression.
Yeah.
See, that would have been good. Like that would have added something, but. Yeah, for me, like the show ambled way too much. But the thing that sticks with me on that show is that I really love skeletons as characters.
Yeah.
Like if
we have a skeleton night to say.
Have you seen Skeleton Night in another world?
No, I haven't, and I think I saw an advert for it or something, or a trailer for it or something, and I thought this looks right up my alley. This actually looks pretty fun. But like I've always liked skeletons as main characters. There's a video game called Divinity Original Sin 2 that you get to play a skeleton guy in, and I was just like, this is perfect. I love like just like main characters as just weird undead guys. I think that's hilarious.
What do you know about Skeleton Warriors?
God.
Skeleton warriors.
Sorry.
He does this every time.
Skeleton warriors.
Did you ever see the commercials for that Rattle Me Bones game? Like this.
Oh
like
my gosh!
Like, Rattle Me Bones.
Oh,
Spin
no.
the wheel. I love that shit. The skeletons always like been fun for me. So Overlord on that sense was really good. But yeah, like as an anime, it just kind of dwindled for me.
Well,
yeah, no, I completely agree because I'm out of the three of us watching the fourth season we're currently on, which I feel only now in the fourth season does it actually start returning to just focusing on the main character and him going around, which is it's fine to have the people in the orbit, but I don't want to spend, as you're saying, 4 episodes on some subplot over here I'm doing stuff over here off screen. It's like no, I want to see what he's doing the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe just a little bit away so it can keep coming back to him. So it keeps that. Yeah, the reason why I'm kind of upset with the show is you can see the potential in it so much. It is an interesting character. He's got this in this world, but he is just so aimless. Does he want to take over the world? Does he not? Does he want to go over there? Like at the start, I think in the first episode, they build a copy of their base. That's one of their first jobs.
Second season.
So is it I swear it's the first.
It's second season. Second season.
Oh, okay, well then
because it's when they're fighting the lizard people.
No,
I swear they do it in season 1.
Nope, season 2. I promise you.
Yeah,
I'll look
people
it up.
season 2.
Either way, at some point they make a fake Nazarick.
Yeah, they start doing things like that, and it's like that just seems to get ignored and never comes up. It's like, well, why? What was the point of it? Like, what is your goal? Are you gonna? And then, oh god, is he taking over the world? Is he not? Is he hunting down the chance of other people who also are like him or not? And then he's got the whole thing, which is kind of cool, as you said in season. I think it's definitely season 1 when he makes the knight persona and he starts doing things like messing up the evil church, right? And it's just like, well, okay, so is he going to keep jumping between them? Because it's like it was almost feeling that he did that because he enjoyed pretending to be a starting adventurer, even though he was so powerful in the world. Like that was him almost playing like a video game versus him in his I'm a super archlich form mode. So it was like the dichotomy between the two. That it doesn't go anywhere. It's just it's so much potential, just doesn't seem to just doesn't seem to live up to it.
Do you think it would be an accurate statement to say that they leaned more into the fantasy for the later episodes than they did the video game aspect? Because in the video game aspect, like he keeps bringing, like in the first season, he brings up like E.Y.E.S to control the personalities of people's, and then like he wins that one fight by bringing out all the cash shop items.
Yes,
like that part made it hilarious for me, and that's why I think the first season was it was really good because it was so self-referential in the sense that it's like we're actually in a video game and I'm up against this super powerful people, but I'm gonna pull out this cash shop bow that I got. And everybody's like, oh my god, a massive artifact. It's like, no, I just spent like 20 yen on this and now
I spent 20 yen when I
and I can kill all these people. Like if they had leaned into that a bit more, where he's actually just some dweebus that's just parrying a super powerful guy, rather than actually trying to make it seem like a serious fantasy show like it did in season 2, I think that would have saved it a little bit more for me.
In season 4, we've got dwarfs, which are very typical Tolkien-esque dwarfs, and we've got dragons. So yeah, it only goes deeper in that sort of direction. And
I would have liked to have seen them lean back into the video game aspect of it a bit, where he breaks the kind of the game world's fourth wall by doing shit like altering personalities in a UI.
Yeah,
like that kind of thing, because it just seems. It goes back to being tropey, like as it progresses into the fantasy thing. Now it's just a fantasy sword and sorcery, whatever Escaflowne, not Escaflowne,
don't you talk bad about Escaflowne?
Legend of Arazlan kind of like. Is it Arazlan? Jesus. I can't remember. Like those old fantasy ones where it's just it's just a fantasy RPG. Like it doesn't have a cool, unique thing about it. Like I really like Goblin Slayer.
Yeah.
Goblin Slayer does that better than Overlord, because Goblin Slayer is super hardcore, but he's super hardcore for a reason within the world, and it leans into the fact that he just hates goblins. Whereas Overlord is like, I'm actually like, it's a video game world and I have video game powers, but I'm gonna lose that part and I'm just gonna go into like standard fantasy.
There's also a recurring thing which I hate about it, to do with his emotions, where it does this weird green flourish or something, and his emotions disappear or something, and it's never explained or really. It's still happening even in season 4 when he gets overly emotional or surprised or whatever, and then he gets shocked, and then he's back to normal or something. It's like, now is that the game affecting him? Could we have more into that? No, it just never.
Well,
just happens.
there was
It's like, oh look, it happened again.
I can't remember, and apologies to anyone listening who's like, oh my god, you got that wrong. Season 3, there was this big fight where he gets like super aggressive, super hyped up and things. And if memory serves, it doesn't kick off. And you're like, well, why doesn't it work there?
Which do you mean? Do you mean the Colosseum fight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then that's the other thing there. There's this bit that's just... so he's kind of nice almost to people, like he's playing the video game sort of thing. And then in season 3, there's this bit where he lures in some adventurers, and then he's just absolutely brutal and has terrible ends for them, but it just doesn't fit. He's not... If he was that character all along, it'd been fine. Or if it was a trick, it was all along. But no, he just becomes this all of a sudden, like, the persona of an archlich, and he, like, feeds one person to an army of cockroaches kind of thing.
Yeah, like, it doesn't have consistency. It's lacking consistency throughout.
Yeah,
this is what happens when the DM doesn't railroad the players.
Yeah, this is exactly it. It's the storytelling's all over the place. I don't know if they have different writers for the different seasons, but like, if they carried on with the same kind of thing, like the battle against Shaltir at the end of season one,
where he spends 5 minutes buffing up.
Yeah, but also, like, he's talking about, like, PvP tactics. Like, hey, I did this in PvP. Like, you make them think that, no, I'm resistant to holy this time, or I'm resistant to fire. But actually, like, you just gotta pretend and talk about, like, weird video game tactics while fighting this NPC. And I thought that was pretty good. I thought that was a good end of the season, and then it just kind of went, eh.
Yep. I'm going to give Nasuth the opportunity to talk about Skeleton Knight now. Let's talk about a good skeleton. So, yeah, there you go, Nasuth. Sell Skeleton Knight to Bear.
I wasn't sure about this one when I read the description, because it kind of sounded like your typical isekai power fantasy. But then you actually watch it, and just the attitude of this guy. His whole dream now, as soon as he enters this world, is to be a hero, to be an adventurer, but not to be like top tier. Even though he's super powerful, he doesn't want to flaunt it. He just wants to make enough, to kind of live on and be happy. And then he ends up getting drawn in to a bigger plot.
I want to correct a bit there. No, it's like, imagine Overlord, but as soon as he came into the world and realized he was in the world, he goes, "Oh wow, I get to experience a fantasy world. I'm now just going to enjoy a fantasy world." And then he was consistent from then on. See, Overlord like touches on that and then doesn't continue. Like this is like as if one of the aspects of Overlord just went, right, we're going to stick with that one.
Yeah. The reason he gets drawn into the bigger plot is because it fits perfectly into the idea of a fantasy world, and so he's like, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I've got to be the hero. But there's some brutal. I mean, despite the fact that it is mostly comedic, and he does constantly reference the fact that I know this because of this fantasy thing. There's also some brutality in it too. There's some dark things that go on that he's trying to stop. I don't want to give too much away on that aspect of it, but
isn't that just the first episode?
No, the whole thing with the elves that goes on through like the whole series.
Oh wow, how did I blank that? Yeah, never mind.
That image has already sold me on this show.
Oh yeah, there we go. The opening.
Why he's a skeleton.
The opening is a rock song for starter, to let you know, and it is beautiful. He loves eating and drinking everything that he can get his hands on because it's all new and unique. Even though he looks like a skeleton, he is still actually a person. So he can eat and drink and all that. It doesn't just run out of his bones.
Gotcha.
But it was so when he was making his class, I think it was, he ended up using a skeleton for was it for laughs?
No, he made an internal story about his character before he started, when he was playing it as a game, and he said that, oh yes, I'm going to play as a cursed paladin who's been cursed into a skeleton.
Yeah,
and is roaming the world looking for a cure. And that's
exactly what ends up happening when he gets here. So he's been cursed to look like a skeleton. He now has the goal of not only helping these elves that he runs into, but also figuring out, how to get rid of the curse. Because he tries it on himself. He is super powerful, so he tries to uncurse himself, and it works for about 5 seconds, and then it just goes right back to normal.
Nice. All right.
But even though he's all powerful, like he's super powerful, he doesn't know, like, he doesn't know tactics that well. So he can still get his ass handed to him by somebody who has actual experience.
That was a good scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
Compliment about.
Yeah.
But also, he just enjoys the world that he's in and isn't
yeah.
aimless and moping like Overlord.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, look at Elf! Wow!
Oh, yeah, he meets some ninjas, and he actually learns, like, he's surprised that they call themselves ninjas. But it actually makes, once you find out, it actually makes sense that they call themselves that. It's so good. Look at him! Look at him!
He just looks so happy to be around.
Yep, it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, cool. So, unless you guys have anything else you want to add to Skeleton Knight? Nope. Okay, so let's get Bear to talk about another one.
Ooh.
And this time I'm gonna go for the one that I can choose, which is the Guyver.
The Guyver. What a show. What an absolute show. And actually one where the remake wasn't that bad either.
Yeah.
Truthfully. So I started watching this in like the early 90s, I think. When I was old enough to borrow videos from my friends and hide them from my parents. But the concept, for those who don't know, I'm sure you do know if you've been listening to Xeno talk about anything, is Sho Fukumachi is a high school student. He finds this thing called a Guyver unit, which is this biological weapon that fuses with his body, and it allows him to summon this thing called the Guyver Armour, which is what you see here, just about to grotesquely crush that Ramath's throat and then stab that other one in the eyes with his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Delightful.
It's literally, it's biting him on his shoulder. He just turns around, grabs his 2 fingers, and just goes right in his eye sockets. And it's like, and I remember watching that going, that is brutal. Like, and I've seen way worse stuff since then now, but at the time, like, you're thinking like, oh my god, it's disgusting. But the Guyver, I think, again, is kind of a weirdly power fantasy anime without it being like super overpowered like Overlord or Skeleton Knight or anything like that. It's just high school kid finds super weapon, gets hunted down by this big corporation, and I love it because the characters, and in hindsight they're kind of cringy, but it was just such a good story in the beginning of like kid becomes superhero, but then it gets super serious when people around him start getting kidnapped. And then the body horror that comes again, like body horror is a big theme for me apparently. Just talking about them now is I'm kind of realizing that now. Thank you guys, appreciate that.
You're not alone. It's safe here. You're safe here.
Admitting it is the first step.
There's this big corporation called the Kronos Corporation, and their foot soldiers are these things called Zoonoids, and they're soldiers that turn into big monsters. And it wasn't just like another thing I really liked about it was it isn't just like everybody turns into their own kind of unique monster. They're kind of manufactured. They're like weapons. So you've got Gregol units, which are like these big green guys with horns, and Ramath units, which are those kind of furry monkey-looking ones. And there's I learned all of the Zoonoid names like through the because I want to say like, ooh, that's a Vermeer, or ooh, that's a Gregol, or and then it kind of becomes this kind of weird power play. And then there's other Guyver units as well. There were 3 units in total. Guyver 1 is the main character, Sho Fukumachi. Guyver 2 is gets picked up by an agent of Kronos, which is the big
Oswald
bad guy.
Liska.
Yeah, Oswald Liska. And then my boy, number 3, Agito Makishima, voiced by Steve Blum in the original dub. That was my intro. That was my intro to Steve Blum, by the way.
I think it was one of his first roles.
I think he did Spike. I think Cowboy Bebop came out before the Guyver.
Nope.
No, it didn't. No, you're right.
Nope.
We got this problem with this time frame thing again, where it's
Yep.
like I'm having a hard time differentiating 80s and 90s because it all blended in. But yeah, Steve Blum is one of my favorite voice actors of all time, and Agito Makishima was my intro role to him. Like, and Agito Makishima for the original series was just so badass throughout the entire thing. Guyver 3, the Dark Guyver. But like his storyline, how it intersects with like the main characters and then the company is very good. And then like the power escalations as they go through, like, okay, you've got your frontline soldiers, and then you've got like the Kronos Japan's hyperzoonoid team, that quote unquote hyperzoonoids, and then you've got the real hyperzoonoids, and then you've got like enzyme units and the Lost unit and all these other like escalations. But it's an escalation that doesn't get too out of control. Which I really like. It's not like suddenly, you know, with the exception of maybe like Daza at the end, who says he's got a laser that can wipe out like a city. But it's never.
You mean Zekdal?
Zekdal, sorry. No, Dazeb's the
Rhino one.
The Rhino one, big one. Yeah, so Zekdal. And then maybe Aptom later on, depending on which show you watch. But the idea of that escalation is really well done. Like there's a power increase, but it's like a D&D power increase rather than a One Punch Man power increase.
For some reason, listening to this is making me think of like Spider-Man or Iron Man or something.
Yeah, and that's kind of, it's a superhero. It's essentially a superhero anime.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is. Sorry, Zeno, you were about to say something?
Well, one thing that's really interesting about the whole power dynamic is the fact that it's the bad guys that get tougher, not the good guys. The good guys are just basically like still on the same pegging, whereas like the bad guys, oh dear God, this is actually a harder fight now. Which more often than not, you don't have it that direction. You have it like, well, the good guy gets stronger still when they find this rat. Like, you know, Goku gets stronger to beat Frieza. Goku gets stronger to beat Majin Buu. Goku gets stronger to beat Beerus, you know. But this way, it's like, you know, nope. Show is the same. It's just the monsters just get tougher, and it's all about strategy.
Yeah, and you can see how bad the corporation is because they start resorting to like psychological tactics, like we're gonna kidnap your friends, which then turns into like we're gonna kidnap your dad.
Yeah.
And then like but
it gets
like
worse.
It gets way worse.
That's why you never reveal your alter ego.
Oh, and then it's like when that stuff starts to fail, they like it essentially becomes them hunting down like Shofukumachi and his little band of mortals.
Scooby gang.
Yeah, the Scooby gang, the body horror Scooby gang, to prevent stuff that happens to one particular character of his family. I don't know. Can we spoil that here? Since
hit the spoilers
we can
button,
put on
Nasuth.
spoilers.
The spoilers. So they take his dad and they turn him into an enzyme unit, and like for the people that haven't watched the show, enzyme units are specifically designed to dissolve Guyver armor so it can't regenerate as well, but like they turn his dad into like his worst enemy, and it causes like this massive psychological trauma, and I was watching that thinking like that is so harsh. And I think what sticks with me most about those couple of episodes is like that the Kronos Corporation is so devious. It's so horrifically devious that it would go that low to do that. And then it kind of really kind of rams home of how inhuman and how power hungry they are. But like when you get out of the you can remove spoilers now. I'm not gonna talk anymore about. I'm gonna talk about generic. But like when it goes up in the power scale, and you start finally like tapping into the people who run like the Kronos Corporation, and the backgrounds of like even the human race or where Zoonoids come from. That's when it kind of blew my mind that there was that much world building in there, and I always wanted to find out more. And I was sad when the OVA and the remade series kind of ended when they did.
Yeah. Out of interest, did you watch any more? Read any more of the manga?
I did actually. And that talks a lot about the backgrounds as well, and certainly I wanted to see Agito get the gigantic unit.
In the anime or in the manga?
I would have liked to have seen that in the anime. But no, I know in the manga the name he chooses for himself as Zeus becomes more relevant.
Yep.
Yeah, but the manga's really good. I think I saw up to a certain point and then it stopped, and I'm not sure. Did they ever finish it?
So the original run only went up to volume 12, which was shortly after where the 2005 version of the show ends. But when it got picked up for the 2005 anime, the author turned around and went, well, I'm going to do more of this now.
Nice.
And
Good.
It got up to volume 31, which I have not been able to get my hands on at all. And then it went on hiatus again. Like, I'm really hoping that, considering Netflix are just constantly turning around, like, oh, this golden oldie, right? We're gonna do another one! I hope that they do that for the Guyver. I don't care if it's a CG one, because hopefully that will inspire the author to just go, hey, I'm gonna finish it. Because
Let's get some more money.
Yeah, it's 31 volumes. I mean, come on.
It's such a formative show for my love of things like biomechanical as well.
Yeah.
Dark Sector and Warframe came about because of my love for things like the Guyver, that weird biomechanical look.
I was
Go tell the story again.
When Xeno, I'm sitting on Discord and Xeno contacts me. Loz, gotta play this game. It's like, okay, fine. What is it? He shows me this trailer of it. It's like, oh look, it's his Guyver fetish in game form.
Yeah, that's about right.
Also,
I
looked up
completely relate.
Steve Blum's first, because you were saying what was his first thing. It was actually he was a old shamanist in Lupin the Third was his first thing.
Wow.
And then he did his next thing after that, which is clearly what was probably his big breakthrough, is he did on the Mobile Suit Gundam, the original series movies, when they're converted to English, he did Char Aznable, which is
that would do it.
That would make sense.
Fair.
It was ages later he did Guyver. Well, quite a bit later.
Right, where do we want to take it from here?
Your list of you.
We can take anything. I mean, I'm happy to jump on something like Full Metal Alchemist, or give it to Nasuth to talk about. Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon?
Ooh.
Let's do Berserk.
Or we give Berserk to Loz.
Without spoiling it for Xeno, because we're going to watch that. He's not watched it.
I mean, I can just put my fingers in my ears, but go on,
No.
Griffith.
Beautiful animes.
Now, to me, I know Berserk is, it is going to start going again, but this might be some a bit high or anything for it, but all be strong. I know that if you think for Western fantasy, J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings is kind of the bedrock, and everything has sprung out from there. That kind of solidified. There's some previous stuff, but that was the template, and then people have just, I do feel they've only built from there. Whereas in Japanese anime fantasy, you got Berserk. And it's just so long running. It just oozes with style and character and all kinds of
It's not afraid to go
craziness.
dark.
Yeah. It works on small scale. It works on the larger scale. I don't want to spoil. I'm trying to do things without saying words that would spoil anything. But at the same time, it's also really grounded in characters, which is great. And the other reason I say for that it's like I like to think of it as the Lord of the Rings in Japanese fantasy is that the Japanese anime will approach topics and themes that you just never see done in Western stuff as well, or to approach it in that way. And this does some really cool stuff.
This takes medieval themed story and just kicks it up. It uses the Japanizing beam, kicks it up to 11.
So is this like, Game of Thrones wishes it was this?
Oh, Game of
God,
Thrones
yeah.
wishes it was anything like
Yeah.
Berserk.
For sure.
Even the books wish they were Berserk. It's so the series which we're going to make you watch, which is on screen now. It's sort of the starting of the story, and it starts out really quite grounded, really quite small scale, and it progresses from there. Very sensible steps, very good escalation, interesting stories that I'm not going to spoil. Don't spoil.
You know how Gunbuster just goes crazy right away.
Yeah,
This is not that. This is very not that.
You get like Gunbuster mentality, obviously, that's in 4 episodes, and then you sort of stretch it out a lot. That's the kind of thing we're going to get. But Gunbuster's like that in 4 episodes. Have you watched Gunbuster? Fair.
I haven't, no.
Oh, I still need to watch Diebuster.
I did Gunbuster. We should do Gunbuster. About Gunbuster. But no, so yeah, do you guys ever want to say about Berserk? Because it's just, yeah.
I think it was the formation of the giant blade as well.
For sure.
Like that Buster, the Dragon Slayer sword is it's a surfboard made of metal with a handle, and that kind of like led into so many different things. And I think Berserk was kind of the real sort of founding principle that huge weapons were cool.
I think you probably could. That's what I mean. That's one clear element that is the bedrock of Japanese fantasy. Yeah, you probably could find maybe 1 or 2 other examples, maybe before, but this is the one that cemented it again. So you would not get obviously your Final Fantasy VII Cloud swinging his giant flat piece of metal around without Berserk. It just would not have happened. Yeah.
I'll die on that hill.
Yeah, definitely.
This fucking guy.
I also love. Yeah.
This fucking guy.
But I love how his motivations make sense for him, right? He's doing the wrong thing, but he's doing it for reasons that you can understand. You can sympathize with him to some degree.
And I he goes through quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, but at the same time, it's so easy to hate that guy.
Oh yeah.
While at the same time having him being like a weird sympathetic villain. I don't know if that's really the correct word to use there, villain.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing I like about that show is that everybody's kind of a shitlord.
Ambiguous, yeah.
They feel like people, not just caricatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like there's complexity that is really well done, but still like mired in fantasy. Like they did exceptionally well to make the characters seem organic, through their motivations and their actions, and then also of their monstrous nature. And I think that was very well done.
Yeah.
That fucking guy.
The way they twist, like the connection between Guts and Griffith, and the way they twist that later it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking.
Yep. And that's what we're going to say, so now he's going to have that over his head. But we're not going to say it.
Well, I wasn't paying attention. What? I'm
course.
joking, I was paying attention.
How many people watched Big O, aside from me?
I did.
You did?
I did. Big O. Another Steve Blum.
Should we talk a bit about Big O?
Go for it.
I don't think I finished Big O, but so if you could... I think I got like 90% of the way through. Does it actually round off well?
The weird thing about Big O, and the thing that sticks with me about it, is that it sets up kind of like a loop. It's weird.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, there was some weird problem. So they produced season 1, or part 1, I should say. And then there was like some weird problem with the production, and it took them a minute to get the second part out, which is why it's slightly different from the first part. But it gets like it starts out as this weird fusion of like Lupin and Batman and what's the other one? Not Gundam, but some other mech show.
I would like some Metropolis.
Ava.
As well.
Ava.
Yeah. It's definitely got some Neon Genesis Bible serial killer.
And the aesthetic is generally pretty good, although there's like this weird sort of featurelessness to a lot of the backdrops. Although that may make sense later, because thematically when you figure out what the city actually is. But yeah, so it starts out with like this whole mystery setting. It's sort of a detective of the week, problem of the week show, and then it in the second season it just starts getting weirder and weirder and weirder until it culminates in the weird sort of reset thing that starts the series over. And that's part of why it sticks with me. There's not a lot of there's not really a lot of world building in it, because they don't really tell you anything. It's almost the opposite of, something like Overlord, where they don't do anything, but they tell you about the world. In this one, they do a lot of things, but they don't really tell you about the world. And just the total weirdness of it and the aesthetic, I think, is part of why I can still enjoy it, even though I know it doesn't really have a satisfying ending.
I think the art aesthetic is the thing that probably sticks with me. Like, it's that weird 50s Art Nouveau kind of... everything looks like, the original Batman movie, like Gotham. Like, that kind of weird architecture. It's got this really... really kind of 50s architecture.
Steampunky. Even the mechs are very steampunky. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at that. I mean, like it looks like a very sort of oddly formatted statue,
or a train. I think it looks like a train, personally.
Yeah, it's got and it's just the design for it, and even like the animation style itself actually looks like a higher quality Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah,
which is I think they were kind of going for, but,
almost certainly.
Yeah.
Imagine Batman if he had a mech.
Batman should have a mech.
Did you ever see the weird ninja Batman movie?
Oh no, we don't talk
I've heard about it, but I've never watched it. Yeah.
No, Batman gets a mech in that.
Oh my.
Do not want. This is like... God, that fucking gets coy as shit. So goddamn bad.
So bad.
I don't know how DC signed that off.
They're willing to do
or
anything
maybe
these days.
Maybe it was a case of DC turned around and just said, like, this is the script. And Japan just went like, this is the script. And like, yeah, that's the script. Can we change any of it? No.
We've already made it.
Logan Joker. That's what we need.
Oh my god. No, it was just bloody, like, Robin. And, like, that haircut on Robin was just trauma waiting to happen. He's just gonna end up going back to, like, regular, America and then get bullied for the rest of his life.
You should anyways, Robin.
That's true fact.
Robin as a character. So dumb.
Poor Robin.
Just for everyone, for Loz and Naz, it's the sort of like old school samurai haircut where it's sort of like not a ponytail, but like this weird. I don't know how to just.
It's called a top knot, I think.
Is it? No, I don't think it was the top knot one. It was the one that was like it sticks up backwards. So I think it's like tied up.
Do you know what the show's called? What was it?
No, it's Batman Ninja.
Batman Ninja.
Right, it's CG and everything. Just do Batman Ninja Robin or something.
Appreciate Big Foul on the screen. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, it's like what? Wait, what? That's not hair. What?
Yeah,
what?
exactly. Right, they did that to Robin, and you just Google it, right? And and it was just like, what the hell? How is he not going to get recognized like instantly? I don't know, but
I love the little tuft that comes out the front. It's like,
what?
Loz.
Hair.
Boy, you are aiming to get beaten.
Okay, is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
Oh my god, they're making a stage play of it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Why?
Yep.
Can we all talk about Akira?
Sure. Big favorite on the show. We love Akira.
Yeah.
Because I think if there's any ever show that I think we can all agree on as being like foundational to not only the genre but to like our experiences, I would like to think Akira's probably it.
Oh yeah. It defines that era of like detailed, grimy, ultra tech, dystopian future, disillusioned young people, psychic powers, and it's everything. It's everything.
Yeah. There's not like a weird like a genre that's really missing from that, apart from maybe like harem animes.
Yeah.
But
and there's even an isekai. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Tetsuo. He's pretty far from anything low powered. But like, just the technological achievement that this anime from like the 80s, like you can look at that animation quality and you will still not see shit like that to this day.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Have you ever heard of? I've brought this up a few times on the show in relation to Akira. Have you heard of a anthology series called Neo Tokyo? It's like a 3-part mini movie sort of thing.
No, I don't think I have.
Look it up. The third one is done by the same art director as Akira, and it's about like this machine construction group that's gone out of control, and the guy that's trying to stop it. It's so good, so good.
Okay, I want to watch that. They're like art direction alone. That guy deserves a medal.
Oh yeah.
Like
I think we actually have it in the Gosh.
I can find it.
And then going through the lists.
Yeah.
There is many lists.
This one.
God,
Yeah.
look at it.
Look at that.
I've seen like commercials for this, I think, or like brief runs. Yeah, no, that looks amazing.
Order to Stop Construction. That's the name of the actual that section of it.
Ah, it looks amazing.
Yeah. Oh, big. If Akira, I mean, obviously Akira's can have a bigger impact because it's a bigger movie. I think it's a better movie too. But if you love that idea, you're probably still gonna just absolutely.
Cool. No, I'm definitely gonna look that up. That's something I need to look at because Akira is anime gold. Like it's the holy grail.
It's the granddaddy.
Yeah, and it really doesn't pull any punches either. Like it covers a lot of the anti-war, corporate expansion,
medical testing on humans.
Yeah, like all of these things that were relevant for the time that are still relevant, today, pretty much.
It's still got the body horror in it too, and like transhumanism, and there's just so much in it.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that you just can't. I can go back and I can watch Akira today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and I'm pretty sure that I will be just as astounded every time I watch it. There's not a single time where I've gone through that show and not been amazed by some aspect of it, either the storytelling or the animation quality, or the brutality of it, or I've always been. There's always something in that show that I've always been in awe of, and if you guys have not seen Akira, anybody watching the show, it should be foundational. They should teach this shit in schools. Like, maybe not too early at school because that might traumatize some people.
Well, I will say, like, when I watched this initially, I couldn't really appreciate it as much as I appreciate it, like, watching it my second, third, or fourth time. Right? I feel that every single time I watch it, like, there's always some more subtle nuance to grasp that was overlooked the last time. Like, there's so many layers to this that, even the dystopian chaos where, like, these kids should be in school and things, the police station is utterly rammed. They've got more crime than the sun, and the kids are just basically like given a slap on the wrist, got told go back to school, and then just go off being more delinquents.
There's this one scene in that movie. It's the part when they're in the school and the guy's like got a line of them, and he just like batters like each one. He just goes down the line and like punches them.
That's like
And
reminiscent
it's
of some of
like,
the
oh my
live action
God.
movies of the time where there were a lot of juvenile delinquent stuff. Yeah.
And it's just like these schools have got people that are like doing drugs or making out in a corner or something like that, and it looks like a hellscape. It looks like something out of, Judge Dredd.
Yep.
It's
And the
just so
music.
good.
Oh, the music.
Oh,
I miss when Warframe used to be mostly like, drums and stuff in the music, and now it's like
Actually, one thing I really want to hammer home is the fact that music doesn't do grimdark like it used to. Because for this episode, I was rewatching the original Guyver, and dear God, it just sounds depressing.
Yeah.
Right?
Now everything's orchestral and operatic and stuff.
Well, like, regardless, it's too upbeat.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, oh, happiness. I'm like, no, this shouldn't be happy. Right?
Carry on.
Well, I mean, like, just imagine Goblin Slayer with, like, a more, like, yeah. No, I was thinking, like, more Imperial March-esque sort of music to it. Like, it just makes it, like, have more of an impact to it.
Yeah, music is a huge impact, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, this, I just don't think that dramatic music is respected nearly as much as it used to be.
It's all overproduced. All music is overproduced now. All of it.
Let's get some lyrics in there. Or not. We could go with not. I mean, not's an option.
Not was never
Ghost
an
of the
option.
Shell. Ghost of the Shell is another example of a soundtrack that it was perfect for the anime. Like, that whole soundtrack was just so, like, it was paced, it didn't have to fill all the noise, it was a lot of, like, traditional mixed in with, like, modern instruments that kind of resembled the setting really well. I think in the only song that sticks with me in recent history from a recent anime is from Bleach, and it's like this. The series itself has its own problems, but there's this one song that they used to play in the background.
It sounds very artificial, like this crickets kind of thing. It's the sort of like leading up to the battle music kind of shit's getting super tense, yeah.
It was, and it's got this kind of like weird like kind of like weird like repeating sound pattern in the background, which kind of made it feel very claustrophobic, and I thought that was incredible. Like that was a really good song for that moment, but it wasn't like throughout the whole season.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
Okay.
But yeah. Do you know what my bankai is?
Oh no, what?
Top hat?
Like, no, it's a giant steak slice.
Nice.
I just eat it and gain more power, and that's.
So, like Goku then.
We've already had a discussion about power levels, and steak slices are my Gurren Lagann. That's my galaxy-sized Gurren Lagann.
Cool. Well, unless there's anything else, shall we move on with the show?
Oh god. Can't stand that animation style. Sorry.
Well, let's put Nasuth out of his misery.
Oh.
Wasn't quite as bad as the Berserk CG though.
Yeah, at least that one just
nothing
looks
is
like
as bad as
plastic
that one.
dolls.
Cool. Right. So it's time to move on to, I believe, the supporter questions.
It is indeed.
Cool, right. So Zrugel asks, before I read out Zrugel's question, I just want to ask our lovely audience to smash that like button and leave a comment down below. And if you can't think of anything, then tell us what your favorite meme of this week was.
Zrugel does love our memes.
Yeah. Don't worry, Bear, you'll get to experience the glory of our memes. Right.
I love memes.
And then Zrugel also asks, can you remember the last time you were pleasantly surprised by an anime? If yes, what anime and why?
Can I?
Yeah, go on.
One Punch Man.
Fair.
Like, I didn't think that I would. I thought it might be kind of meh, but like I was so enthralled with the first season.
We just made Nasuth watch it recently, so yeah, I think he can reach that as well. Yep.
No, but I mean, it didn't surprise me though, because you guys had already, like, I've heard from everywhere that season 1 is so good. So yeah, I think the one that actually surprised me is, we already talked about it a little bit. It was Skeleton Knight.
Fair.
I want to say One Punch Man as well as that, because you get in the first episode or two, you're like, okay, yeah, he's going to finish everything one punch. You think, well, how are you going to make a show out of this? How can you keep a show going more than two episodes or 10 seconds if he can just finish everything one punch? But it is probably, and I keep repeating this, the best example of how to do a completely overpowered character in a show and tell an interesting story still.
Yep. For sure.
I'm going to say VV for Eyes.
Fair.
Nice.
I still need to watch that.
Yep. It's basically about AI. The animation is incredible. The music's great. You know, yeah, it was just a complete underdog at the time. No one knew what it was.
No one still knows what it is.
I don't know.
Yes.
What it is.
Yeah, there you go. I'll link it to you later.
Time traveling singing robot. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Very good.
Ask for my deep lore asks, why have you ever considered taking a university level course to learn the Japanese language? You probably want to start with a basic level course before you go into university.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, why would you need to get a university level course? You could why don't you just learn Japanese?
Learn Japanese. Go learn Japanese. Yeah. Have you ever considered learning Japanese?
I have. I got too much shit on.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered? No.
No, I'm terrible with languages, dude. I did like 3 years of French when I was in school, and I can only remember like how to ask for a chocolate ice cream.
Very important.
I did 5 years of Welsh, and all I can remember is Dydw I ddim hoffi yn Cymraeg.
Welsh isn't a language. Shut up.
Which means I don't like Welsh.
Very useful.
Yep. If you spent the last 17 years in another world before coming back to this one, what piece of technology or game / show / etc. would you miss the most from the your original era? Oh dear God. Toilet paper.
Yeah, those 3 seashells, man. I don't know if I'll ever figure them out.
Toilets in general.
Just toilets in general.
That's plumbing in general.
Yeah, plumbing.
There we go.
Not microwave.
People don't realise.
A lighter.
People don't realise that plumbers save more lives than doctors.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Take that shit away. Anyway, Minion of Xeno asks, the next doorway or window you pass through is going to take you to another world. You can grab one object to bring with you, and it will gain magical powers based on what it is and does. What object are you taking? Well, yeah, what object are you taking?
I was gonna say my tablet.
Yeah,
it's a Windows tablet, so you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, right, if I'm going to make an object and take it and, you know, basically give it an internal battery, well, what can you do with it's a supercomputer compared to, you know, how it used to be.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and then add more, but then it gets more power on top of it. Yeah, it's going to be the phone. Come on, man.
It's gonna be
vacuum cleaner, and it's going to gain the abilities to control gravity.
I'm gonna take my cat.
Just suck in reality. Have a little portable black hole. That's what it's going to be.
I'm kind of on board with what Loz and Naz are saying, but I want to go like extra weird and just say a door handle.
No,
right?
I want to change mine. I want to change mine to my cat. But yes, go with your door handle.
Yeah, just like, you know, I could just open doors anywhere, or I could just like create doors out of nothing. Going, well, hey, this wall's a fancy looking door. You know, this castle's mine now because I can open the door.
Do I have my Fitbit around here? That would be cool. It gets to control my health. I turn into a superpowered, Broly-looking fucker. I'm super fit now.
Yep.
There you go.
One more for the isekai questions. You are able to be reborn in a world where all of the pantheon gods, such as Romans, Norse, Egyptians, South American, and Polynesian, are real. You are to be born as a demigod, and you may choose the deity that will be your godly parent. Since you will inherit powers from your godly parent, which god do you choose, and how will your mythical powers help you? I mean, I'm just gonna say not Zeus, because like I'd be scared what the other half of me would be.
I'll take Zeus, and my power will be to have sex with anyone in the world, like he does. And then I'll fuck my way to the top. You see?
No. It's not any one, Nasuth. It's anything.
Oh.
See, that's
the pulse.
That's true. Yeah.
He is Zeus, and he's going to fuck it.
Yeah.
What would you go for then, Zeno?
Oh God. This is really difficult.
He'll take Thor, and he'll make successful movies.
I'm Chris Helmsworth now.
No, I was actually thinking like my parent would be Anubis, and I'd have the power over death. So you know.
Edgelord over here.
Yeah, you're gonna die now just for sassing me.
Oh, I should have taken Thoth, but then have the power of knowledge. Yeah.
Loz?
I'm not sure because I'm looking through Polynesian gods as we speak, so I'm not really sure what I'd pick. And if I was being lazy, I'd go with Bacchus, just so I can drink.
Loz would pick a god that knows about other gods.
I think I would go Chernobog from Slavic. Yeah, from the Slavic pantheon. God of darkness and death and all kinds of balls. Really kinds of Chernobog's
cool. Chernobog. Okay, right. Took me a minute to actually catch that.
But
cool.
if you've ever watched the show American Gods, I love the guy that plays Chernobog in that. You'll see. Carry on.
Fair. Right, okay, so we're done with the supporter questions. It's time to move on to the comments from last week's episode. So, Zrugal says, Pooh, I was hoping Call of the Night was going to be good. Yeah, it's just not. Apparently, in the 7th episode, they introduced more characters.
Have they got their rights yet, though?
Wrong show, but...
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a rant for another time. Zrugal also says, lol, Nasuth, I appreciate your antics.
At least somebody does.
What did you do
I appreciate you. I appreciate you for your love of It's so dodgy.
Zrugal also says, I totally agree with you. The show, So I'm a Spider, could have been decent if they did it in chronological order. Oh god, they really fucked it with that one.
Just make 2 freaking shows.
Yeah.
Strombus Voidshell says, lol, I think it's hilarious that you guys added a poop rating.
Yep.
We did.
These are our ratings over here for Bear's benefit, and there's a poop.
We added a poop rating.
And like, it's really cool. They've put an animation where like a big red stamp appears on the screen.
Yeah.
Does it do sound effects?
I put it in post.
I hope you're not doing it as like rating guests that way, because I'm pretty
sure.
No,
it's just shows.
Bear is a acquired taste.
No, he's a must-watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Too kind.
Yeah. His hilarity ensues, his Britishness. Nick Evans is here to drown you in words. Did he change his account name to that?
No, I instead of Nick Evans asks, I put Nick Evans is here to drown you in words.
Okay,
because he's here to drown you in words.
Oh, fucking Christ!
Nick, when you get ones that long, I just personally direct them to the individual and get the individual replies, because that's
to paraphrase them.
Essentially, there's nothing to get. Loz doesn't get the maid I hired recently is suspicious because there's really nothing to get. It's just there There's a word I can't say on YouTube, but they're
Fair enough.
They're pushing. It's a Yuri artist who she's essentially waifu baiting you with that's it. That's the whole extent of it. So there's no other meaning to the show. There you go.
Fair enough.
Now you know.
Cool.
It's like
And
if I
now-
just get these bottles and just be like, this is a TV show now.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
This is what it feels like watching that show. It's like, ooh, it's like
Right.
nothing happens. They just go back and forward.
And now it's time to go to the memes. So you can get all sorts of memes from the Twitter account, so twitter.com/Kanpai_cast. We do 3 memes daily, unless it's today where I forgot to do them. And yeah, they're all from various different subreddits, from We Are Weeb, Good Animemes, Animemes, and Anime Memes. If there are any other subreddits to keep an eye on, you know. But yeah, so let's start with Naz's first one.
When somebody suggests a live-action version of your favorite anime. Yep. Gone. Reduced to atoms.
The best benefit that character normally has is massive breasts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
I am Echidna of the Witch of Greed. You may ask me for whatever knowledge you seek. What's a good comeback for someone calling Rem blue-haired Ram? Any knowledge except that.
Fair.
I can't even say it.
I would love some context.
Isn't it High School?
Have you seen
double
High
D?
School of the Dead?
Oh, it's High School of the Dead. Okay.
Yeah, this isn't Double D.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Even though they are double Ds.
Oh god, that scene is just like so wrong in so many different ways. But yes.
Trade offer! I receive a piggyback ride whenever I pass out. You receive front row seat to the greatest explosions you can imagine.
Have you seen Konosuba Bear?
No.
Oh.
We're gonna have to get you to watch that. Right.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to give you a list. Okay.
I love big explosions though, so
Yeah.
Oh, she's got the
Konosuba's
biggest.
Solid.
it's fucking hilarious.
Best
It's so
mage.
funny.
It really
Best
is. Finally! Cockroach. Japanizing beam. Gokiburi! Gokiburi!
Okay. So my first meme. This is the saddest episode I've ever watched. Saddest so far.
So that's Made in Abyss, which...
Yep.
yep.
Yeah. Loz's reaction. Okay. The Aztecs, when they go back in time and show... Sorry, when you go back in time and show them what the Japanese did to the god of wind and rain, as well as their creator of the world and humanity. So that's Quetzalcoatl from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
God damn.
She's the same one I had earlier with the boobs that were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see there's some difference in there.
Finally.
That one.
Yep. Fourth.
Oh my god.
Boys HOTD. Men's HOTD.
The Dragon High School of the Dead. Oh, I get it. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
My fifth meme. Me registering an Otaku account using my dad's email address. This email is already in use. And that is that's a parody of a bunch of VTubers, like the HoloLive ones. I think the top one's Watson, and the bottom one is Miracalliope or something like that. I can't remember the name. But it's the parody of...
Justice League.
Yes.
When
It's...
Superman turns round.
Yeah. And then my last but not least, number 6, One Punch Man Season 3 gets announced. Me hoping it's a new studio does it.
Is that Nichijou? That is Nichijou.
Yeah. Yep.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
What was who did season 1 again?
Was it Mappa?
Madhouse.
Madhouse.
But they just don't like doing anything past season 1.
Seems like.
Apart from Overlord.
Oh,
I know, they could be putting their talents to so many better uses.
Yep. So, and next week, we've got What Makes a Good Protagonist/Antagonist with Slivarito.
Hey.
And yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Bear, it's been lovely having you on the show. It's been great getting your perspective on anime and being able to recommend you good stuff based on your taste.
And we kept it under 2 hours. I mean, my goodness.
I need to check out what's it called? Some of the
Genocyber.
golden oldies.
Yeah.
Cyber CEO Oedo,
Yeah.
for sure. And Genocyber if you want to see some shit.
Yep. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching/listening. It's time, and now it's time to bottoms up and Kanpai!
Hey!